one of the most commonly asked questions by people like ourselves is, why do we understand the shit that's going on when so many people don't? And I'm wondering what it was about your upbringing. I mean, was it the prison experience? Because, look, there are so few people with a mainstream media background in the past, at least. I mean, you were an LBC presenter, which is mainstream media, I guess. And I was, you know, I Telegraph, Spectator, all that stuff. But almost nobody in our trade has spoken up honestly about the myriad things that are going wrong with the world right now.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about you that you're not afraid to speak out?
Well, I don't want to generalize, right? But it's easier to unplug from the system and look at it from the outside if you've already done that before. It's like anything, right? You know, your first time riding a bike is scary, and then you ride a bike again, and it's easier, and then it gets easier, and then you never forget it. So anybody that's already stepped outside the system and looked at it analytically, and it's a lot easier to then see what's going on if you're looking at it from a bird's eye perspective. It's psychologically a lot less intimidating to then have to do that again when the COVID thing kicked off.
Yeah.
So if you look to before I was imprisoned, actually a long time before that, when I was 15 years old in Southend, where I was born, and the sort of thing that we had to confront with attacks by police, attacks by skinhead racists, neo-Nazi racists. I'm talking machete attacks and hammer attacks. And before I hit the age of 16, I had to watch more of my friends stabbed before my eyes than most people do in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And they were boasting of relations in the police. This was before the murder of Stephen Lawrence. It's what I call the bad old days of racism in this country, because I don't like people that talk as if it's just as bad today. Things have improved drastically. But in those days, in particular for us in Southend, it was quite hard. Why I mention this is because I've also, at the age of 15, been arrested at gunpoint by Essex police for suspicion of armed robbery. And the reason for that is my brother, who was 16 at the time, was playing with a plastic gun in the park, and we were all messing around. And, you know, it's hard to think of now, because you might think, well, why, if you're a Muslim and you're playing with a plastic gun in the park? Basically, you had to look Irish to be considered a terrorist in those days, right? It wasn't about Muslims, yeah? We were on the hippie trail. Everyone wanted to come to Pakistan to go to Afghanistan on the Khyber Pass because Cat Stevens did that, right? So everyone was happy with us, right? Basically, this wasn't about terrorism. There was nothing to do with terrorism, Muslim terrorism in those days. This was somebody that saw him and decided that he's 16, he's carrying this plastic gun in a park, playing with his friends, he must be about to rob a bank. So they reported him, and then the police, this is a true story, it's really surreal. The police mounted a day-long surveillance operation, and by the time 2 a.m. came, I was in my friend's car. His name's Ron. I was with my brother, and we were coming back from a snooker hall. He was driving me. I wasn't old enough to drive. And the police helicopter shone a spotlight on our car from above. They blocked off the roads. They arrested us with machine guns, and they threw us in a cell. They realized by the very next day the whole thing was a big, fat mistake. But when you have those sorts of experiences, you already grow up kind of on the other side of the system. Mm-hmm. And I was in a comprehensive school that was shut down and put under special measures after I left it. Wasn't in a prep school. So you've already kind of got a relationship with the system that is antagonistic. It's very easy to unplug from that, which is what I did when I joined the Islamist group that I joined. So as I say, when you've unplugged once already, unplugging is a reference to the Matrix, by the way, for those of you that didn't get that.
It's a film.
Yeah.
It's a popular film.
It's easy to unplug again. Yeah. So that's an explanation I can offer. I mean, beyond that, I'm not going to blow my own trumpet.